Welcome back to Ex-Care Kids Scotland. As you know, I'm Thomas Martin, the founder of Ex-Care Kids Scotland. Today's video is going to be about basically raising an issue within units and offer advice to both staff and young people to try lower this issue, if not eradicate it altogether, but that's impossible to eradicate this specific issue. So, one of the biggest issues in a unit is young people running away. Now, this is definitely something I've done. I've done it a lot in my time in units. I ran away a lot. Like, I'm talking at least once a week, if not 2-3 times a week, or multiple times a week. Now, staff always try their hardest to stop boys running away. But it's something that's never going to go away. Boys are always going to run away. It's a natural thing. You know, when you're put into some place where you don't like being put. So, with a unit, you're getting, if you've been in units for a while, it's a bit easier to, to stay in a unit. It's a tiny bit easier. But it's still there. But when you've been taken away from your family, your friends, and then you're put into a unit miles away from them, like I'm talking a few hours away from them, if not more, and you've got that connection kind of severed, that in-person connection removed, when you're in a unit and shit gets too hard, you run away. You go to the place where you know what I mean? You go to the one place where you want to be, which is with your pals, with your family, where you can be free and not have to, follow unit rules. And in some units, the rules can be pretty damn stupid. I've been in a few units, and only one of those units had the dumbest rule I think I've ever had to go through, and it's one that definitely had a huge impact on me running away. And it was my final unit. And it's this thing called a status group. So by that you were given starter, junior, top junior, and then senior. Those were the statuses of the units. And if each status came with different perks. I'd been used to units where I could ask if I could go out. I either got told aye or I got told no. That was as simple as it. That was quite literally how simple it was. If they said aye, I would go out. They'd tell me a time to come back, I'd come back. Whether that be drunk, not drunk, or whatever it was. I would do whatever I was doing, and then I would come back. With this final unit, you had a status, and it's something that I feel was the most, whoever thought of it was, no offense to the person who thought of it, but they were an idiot to think of it, because it's stupid. They tried to class it as an incentive to behave, but in a unit, you're not there to be incentivized. You're in a unit for multiple different reasons, and there's a lot. There's too many reasons to go through, but there's a lot of reasons to why you can be put in a unit. And then to be told you've got to earn you're basically being told you have to earn your freedom. That was the simple design of that system of status groups. It was designed to get your freedom, which I'm still looking into this. I'm going for a lot of the national care standards to actually see if this is something that's actually against that. Because to be told, like for my first day, I went in, blah blah blah, and then they says, okay, so you're a starter. I was like, what the hell's a starter? What the hell's that mean? What does that mean? They're like, you can only go to the living room or your bedroom. You're not allowed anywhere else, unless the staff member says yes to it. And I was like, so I cannot go out that front door for fair share without a staff member approving it and a staff member being there with me? Yep. Oh, okay. And that right there was stupid. That right there is something that should have never have been implemented into a unit as a status group. A unit is a place of safety. There is measures there to keep a young person safe, which is understandable. That's the rules of a unit. But having a status group is not meant to be there. No, that should never have been something that was ever thought of. And it's one of the reasons it can cause young people to run away. But the main aim of this video is to explain to staff something. To any staff member watching, or head of management, or whatever it is, any person who's involved in working in a unit, you ain't ever I'm going to say this as blunt as I'm going to say it. You're never going to stop a young person running away. You're never going to do it. It's never going to happen. It's impossible. Young people will always run away. And that's for the simple fact of they don't want to be there. And there's multiple reasons to why they don't want to be there. It can just naturally be because they don't want to be there. They want to be with their pals and that, which is fair game. But it can also be to how that unit runs. Now, in that final unit, because of the status groups, I wanted to run away a lot because of the simple fact of that system they had implemented. All my other units beforehand, yeah, I would run away. But it was because I wanted to. There was nothing really in those units, aside from a few big issues that would happen, that would make me want to run away, but it was never something that I did on a daily basis or a weekly basis, or something that I would plan in advance, being like, you know what, I'm going to plan a way to run away on this date, X, Y, and Z. It's something that staff need to understand, and young people need to understand. There's a way to do stuff like that. You know, if you want to be weird, for the young people mainly, this is what best parts for the young people. If you're wanting to go see your pals and your family and all that, instead of doing the B1, speak to the staff, see what can be arranged. You know, I'm not I'm not endorsing running away or that, but I'm going to say this on a level of the young people. If that unit's getting to a point where running away seems like the only option, you could run away. Or you could just go straight to the head of management and speak to them about it. Now, I know it may feel like they're not listening, but if it does turn out that you feel like they're not listening, there's multiple services out there that can, there's care organisations, stuff like that, that'll happily help. I'll try, if I remember to, I'll link them down below, and if not, they'll be in the website, which you can, it's always in the description anyway, so you can always go to the website and look at the useful links. Now, for staff, you need to get a grip with that stuff, because I'm saying this on a young personal level. I'm basically making myself be like I'm back in the unit. When a young person is going to run away, the worst thing you can do is to try stop them, because it's just going to aggro the situation, because they're already doing the B1 for a reason. They've already got an aim in their sights. Trying to stop them is the worst thing you can do, because it's just going to escalate a situation into something bigger than what it needs to be. Now, I understand there is procedures that you've all got to follow, and each unit's got a different procedure to the next. But there's also procedures that happens when a boy does run away. Now, I know some units don't go chasing after them. They'll just follow the other procedure, which is inform social work, inform the local authority, blah, 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 blah. And that's what should just be done anyway. There shouldn't be any other, and at least personally speaking, there should be no other intervention into it. Because if a young person's going to run away, a young person's going to run away. They're going to do it. There's nothing you can do to stop them, really. If a young person has got in their head that they're going to run away, they're going to do it. Whether it be by you stopping them and taking them back, they'll go. They'll most likely just wait and do it again. And they'll keep doing such. Now, the only thing a unit can do is make their life more comfortable for a young person. It's the only thing you can do in a unit. And this is where I feel staff need to have a serious look into their units. And so do, care inspectors and stuff like that. They need to have a deep look into how a unit runs in terms of stuff like that, because it shouldn't. Personally, if I had it my way, if I had ultimate control over a care unit, I would make the place like a home for them. Because at the end of the day, you can never really make a unit a home for a young person. They're never going to want to stay in the unit. The best you can do is make it as comfortable as you can for them, and make it as much as a home as humanly possible. By the way, I do apologise if I'm stuttering. That is because one thing I want to inform everyone, none of this stuff's scripted, by the way. When I make these videos for advice and that, I make it there and then. You know, there's no pre-plan of it. I literally just say it as is. And that's just the way I roll with it. But for the staff, you can never stop a young person running away. And the worst thing to do is to try stop them. The best you can do is make the unit as comfortable as they can for them. When they run away, they run away. They know, you know for a fact they're going to come back. You know, whether that be by local authorities or whatever reason it's going to be. You know, on a lot of my occasions of doing the B1, that was the case. You know, I'd be brought back by the local authorities, and I remember on many occasions, you know, we'd be brought back by them and there'd never be an issue. You know, it was always easy as. I remember one time I absconded to, I think it was Cumnock. No, it wasn't Cumnock, it was Greenock, that was it. I absconded to Greenock and got caught by a security guard who, because I was trespassing over a certain place, and they phoned a triple eight or some shit like that. I can't remember what it was. They phoned something. They ended up ultimately phoning the police. They ended up ultimately they get in contact in the unit. I then spoke to the manager of that unit, of my unit. I said basically fuck off, blah blah blah, I'm not coming back, this X, Y and Z. And I will give this staff member all of her credits. Like, I will give her every single credit. This is how a staff member should be when a young person does a B1 and they get in contact. She wasn't rude. She wasn't like, "Oh, get your ass back here" and all that shit. She was like, "Are you coming home? Are you gonna come home by yourself, or are the police going to be bringing you back, or will we come pick you up?" In my mind at that point, I was being a wee dick. I was like, "Nah, I'm not coming back." Blah blah blah. But she gave me the options, and that's the key thing. She gave me options to come back by myself, and that's what all the staff need to do. It's one thing that I feel staff need to offer to young people is the opportunity to come back by themselves, because it's easier for the young person. You know, when a staff member just pulls up to a young person saying, like, "Get in the motor," and the young person says no, what do the staff do? The staff get them in the motor. And that just causes a whole different world of issues. You know, that actually happened to me where when it was in my final unit, I did the bail and I was no more than 2 minutes down the road to where the staff car pulled up beside me. And in public, may I add, and some of the staff didn't even have their badges on, which makes this situation a lot worse because the protocol states that the staff need to have their badges during something like this. I'm walking along the road and it was the duty manager that day. And he got out the motor and he's like, "Get in the car." And I was like, "No, fuck off." Didn't give me an option to cool down. Didn't give me any options. What did they instantly do? They escalated the situation. He instantly grabbed hold of me. The rest of the staff got out the motor. They all grabbed hold of me. What's that naturally going to make me do? I am instantly at that point threatened. I was threatened anyway because of the way they came out of the motor and the way they were speaking. What did that cause? That caused me to then lash at the staff members by assaulting them. What did that cause? Me getting dragged into a motor, getting restrained inside a car on the side of the road, to then be held by the throat in the car back to the school, to be put in a 2x2 room, be restrained in that room, and then be left in that room for, I think it was about 2.5 hours with no contact. I was left in a 2x2 room with a window that I couldn't even see out of. The window didn't open, the door was locked, and there was a chair, a plastic goddamn chair, and I was made to sit there for 2.5 hours. That isn't right. That's not right in the slightest. That should have never have happened. But it did. And it's something that staff need to look at with that stuff, because it's wrong. You know, that full day could have turned out completely different. You know, and it was duty staff that I did the bail. They'd pissed me off that much. I was like, "I'll do the bail." At that time, I had no intentions of really going anywhere. I just wanted away from the unit. I just wanted away. I didn't want to be near the staff or anything like, or any of that fucking hell, what I classed it as at the time. And if the staff had maybe gave me an option, of, do you want 5 minutes? I probably would have said fuck off. But them giving me that option would have made me think. And there would have been a higher chance of me going back to the unit myself, and a lot lower of a chance of me kicking off and assaulting staff. But they didn't choose to do it that way. But we're kind of getting off topic with that. Ultimately, the staff need to look at the situations. The staff need to understand, so do social work departments, so do local authorities, everyone in the care system or who's involved in the care system needs to understand one major factor. A young person's going to run away. They're going to do it. Understand that. Please. Because when you try to intervene with a young person absconding, it's going to escalate the situation. And that's the best way I can put it, is you're going to escalate it 10 times harder. It's okay to follow that young person in the car. There's so many different ways that it can be dealt with. When a young person, if I was running a unit and a young person absconded, I would give them 5 minutes. Is what I would usually give them. I would because if you're owning a unit, you're picking in the area where it's built, so you know the area that it's built. I like, we could have went in 5 minutes, and we'd drive about. If not that, then the minute they do the bail, I would have a staff member in the car, just driving behind them at a distance that's not intruding into them. And let's say they went to a train station, for example, to get a train. Then it'd be as simple as staff member pulls into the train station and, stands near the young person, speaking to them, or trying to speak to them, saying, listen, where are you going? What's up? Not trying to grab them or anything like that. The thing is, one thing I feel staff need to be better trained on is a lot of staff aren't trained on it. And it's an issue that plagues the care system. Staff are not trained to deal with young people absconding, at least from what I've seen. They're not trained in a way that allows them to communicate with a young person appropriately during those moments of crisis. Because that's what it is. It's nothing bad. What that young person is going through is a moment of crisis. And staff need to understand and get through their skulls that they need to be on a suitable level for that young person. And there's a lot of staff in units that don't have that. A lot of staff members in units don't have that kind side to them. They have that, when a young person absconds, it's like an adrenaline buzz for staff, because they're like, yes, it's been a boring day, or yes, we've got a young person absconding, let's just drag them in the motor, blah, blah, blah. It's not right. It's not right in the slightest. The only way you can probably prevent a young person absconding is there's nothing. There's nothing you can do. It's nothing a staff member can do to stop a young person absconding. If they're going to abscond, they're going to abscond. But for the young people, if you do ever think he's want to abscond, or you do end up absconding, the biggest thing you can do is keep yourself safe and keep yourself in contact with staff, whether that be a phone call or not. At the end of the day, there's a fair bit of staff that only want to make sure that you're safe. When you do the bail, the staff are worrying that you're not safe. Every time I did the bail, the staff had my phone number. I would have my phone on me, which was natural. If you did the bail, you would want you to. So one main thing you would made sure you had on you was your phone. So you could message your pals, arrange what you were doing that day if you were planning to get on it or whatnot, or you were just wanting to have music. What time is that? And you'd have your phone in you. The best thing you can do is just phone your unit and be like, listen, I'll be back in a few hours. I just want to be away for there for now. I want to be with my pals, be with my family. I want to get on it. And then I'll come back on my own accord. I'll be safe. You inform the staff of what you're doing. And you just let it outplay like that. As long as you're keeping them updated on what you're doing, you'll be fine. It'll instantly lower the thing. But once things staff need to do, when a young person does that, it's not just be like, instant phone the police. Let the young person have their fucking space. For God's sake. It's the biggest one I can't stress to staff is staff are so pronounced for invading a young person's personal space. When a young person absconds, one of the biggest things staff do is try to get hold of that young person by physical means, not by distance and talking to them from a distance or trying to phone them. A lot of staff do is try to get hands on with it. But staff need to understand you have to go to the young person's pace. If the young person's on the bill, they've got no intention of coming back very quickly at least. They want to be away for there for a fair amount of time, and you've got to respect that. And you've got to give that young person their time. I know this video's been a bit wonky over, and it's went back and forth, and for that I do apologise. As I said, none of this is scripted. That I just say it as it is. I'm going to end the video here, and I hope that you can all, both staff and young people, can understand that for staff, boys are going to abscond no matter what. So the best thing you can do is try to make their time in that unit as comfortable for them as you can. For the young people, if you do abscond, just keep in contact with the staff. I know you don't want to, but it's not a hard ask. Just even phoning them saying, listen, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm doing this, I'll be back at X amount of time. That's the best thing you can do. Or you can say you'll hand yourself into the nearest police station or whatnot. There's multiple options you've got there to keep in contact with staff, to inform them that you're safe. But I'm going to leave the video there, and I hope you can all kind of take something away from it, both young people and staff. And I hope that you can kind of implement change by yourselves. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video there. As I've said for like the 5th time now. Remember, keep yourselves safe. When you go outside, wear your face masks. Do your social distancing. Always wash your hands. Because right now it's getting a bit dodgy where I stay. In a Dawson, there's an Asda. In Ayr there's been an Asda that's been confirmed for COVID. So right now, I ain't planning on leaving my gaff anytime soon. I'll be doing my own social distancing, keeping myself safe. I don't fancy getting the corona into my body, thank you very much. Anyway, stay safe. Remember, if you do find these videos helpful or informative, share it with your friends, your family, your work colleagues, etc. On the screen for all the videos, there's always the link to the website. It's also linked down below. That has way more information about Ex-Care Kids Scotland, and it has a lot of useful links in it. It's got a lot in it, and there's more coming to it. Also, I would like to inform everyone that I am currently working with Celsius, which is a care organisation aiming to make change within the care system. So I'm working alongside them, and I've got a few more Zoom meetings in the works with them, and hopefully late next year we can hopefully start getting change implemented into the care system. If you ever want to contact me, you can contact me through the site. It leads to my personal email address, so you're always getting that direct contact with me. Of course, there is an admin email. So there's multiple ways you can contact me. There will be a phone number getting put up soon that you can contact me on, but anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I hope you all stay safe. Remember, follow your procedures to stay safe throughout this pandemic. I hope you all have a brilliant day and night whenever you are watching this. And that's it. I will see you in the next one.